Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome all the participants and our today's resource person, Honorable Dr. M.B. Kumtekar, to the second session of day 6 of our FDP on innovations in concrete technology. I would like to introduce Kumtekar sir. Dr. M.B. Kumtekar is working as principal at Government College of Engineering, Karad. Sir completed his PhD in IIT Bombay. Sir is having 15 years of experience in designing and execution of pre-stressed bridges, tunneling, dam-foot powerhouses. Sir designed more than 3,000 buildings as a consultant in the last 25 years and worked as member of planning committee for draft development plan of Karad Town second revision. Now, I would like to request Kumtekar sir to start today's session on bendable concrete.
So, good afternoon. Hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, welcome to the last session of this particular AICTI IST sponsored FDP on the innovations in this field of concrete technology. I will take the opportunity to use this last session for one more major development which has changed the characteristics of the concrete technology. In fact, when we look at the concrete, the common impression in our mind is it is a homogeneous mix of some heterogeneous material. It is very much rigid in nature. It is not at all flexible. It has the tendency to go for the catastrophic failure due to its brittleness. And even a small crack is generated, it propagates many times faster and leads to the collapse of the structure. But even though these limitations are there, as it is having the high strength, high durability provided you take appropriate care during the casting. And as compared to other construction material like the steel, it is the cheapest one, even because I had told you last time, the 6,000 rupees is the present DSR rate for M20 with the density of around 2,500 kg per meter cube. That comes around 2 rupees and 25 paisa, 2 rupees 30 paisa, as compared to the cost of the steel, which is almost equal to 50-55 rupees per kg. Second point, the concrete is such a material which is the only material which can be really produced and cast at that particular place. And due to its two advantages, two phases, what is called as the plastic phase or the green phase of the concrete, and second is the hardened phase, we have the ease, comfort in placing the concrete in the different molds to get the desired geometrical shape, line, level, alignment, and all. And that is why this concrete is most versatile construction material, which is commonly adopted across the globe. But as it had some limitation, there was some constraint in using this material where we desire more flexibility, where we desire practically the resilient property of the concrete, shock absorbing property of the concrete. And hence, 6-7 years back, slightly more than that also, the project was given to me or Government College in Karad, which was given by the Larsen & Toubro, which was handling the monorail project at Mumbai. The project manager was my friend when I was in the field. And that is why with my students, we could develop this technique, which is called a bendable technology or bendable concrete. Of course, this is initially started by a Michigan professor, and considering the requirements of this metro monorail of L&T ECC, we had developed this type of the technique at my Government College in Karad with my students. I'm going to share you all the data, what we have done and what we have presented to Larsen & Toubro in the presentation. Let me go to the share screen. Hope my screen is visible to you. Please check.
Yes, sir.
This is what is called as the bendable concrete. This figure itself indicates how the concrete flat slab is undergoing the deformation without any sort of the failure signs in the form of cracks and all. Because we cannot expect this type of the property. We cannot expect this type of the property when the concrete is subjected to the bending, subjected to flexure. Let me show you the necessity, and this is the point where actual the failure may take place. Even at the time of failure, which is about to now collapse, there is no single signature, no single signal of a crack. Still, it is undergone huge amount of deformation, which is not possible, which is not matching with the property of the concrete. And hence, deliberately, the name is given as bendable concrete. That technically we call it as engineering cement composites. It is basically a composite structure. It is basically a composite derivative of the fine aggregate, cement, some sort of the what is called as the admixture, and mainly it is also using typical fibers which is called as PVA, polyvinyl type of the fibers. Here we are not using what is called as the coarse aggregate, and hence practically we don't say 100% as a cement, but we can known as the engineering cement composites. What is the necessity? The necessity is very clear. As I said, the concrete has inherent advantages: durability, resistance to fire, it is energy efficient, on-site fabrication is possible. We can pour that particular concrete in any mold, in any shape, any alignment, because it has the two phases, what is called a green or plastic phase, and second is the hardened phase. But major disadvantage is due to lower tensile strength, ductility, inconsistent reliability due to variable vibrations application skill at the job. As I said, in the case of job, many times I request the committee members or the coordinator to, you can mute my video because that will give you more better screen. If possible, you can mute me. You can mute my video part. The thing is, under such situation, it may lead to the brittle failure, which is very risky because in the case of steel structure, before it collapses, before it goes for the yield, it has what is called as the plastic zone. If you basically test a steel bar under the UTM, you'll have some basically elastic limit, then it goes to the plastic, then it forms the hinge and it collapses. But here in the case of concrete structure, that is not the story. When it will cross the elasticity, it will generate a crack, and after the crack generation, it will lead to the sudden collapses. And hence, this brittle failure is going to create a problem that is witnessed n number of times in the world. And that is why we have to change this particular property. And that property, when it is changed, it has some other advantages, what I have shown you in the first or second slide, where the concrete has undergone the deformation without generating any crack. This is introduction. Conventional concrete almost unbendable. The lack of bendability is major cause of the failure, and hence considering this particular factor, the bendable concrete has been developed, which is called a engineered cementitious composites. The technically it is a composite capable of exhibiting considerable enhanced flexibility. Let me tell you, my friends, in fact, in the Government College of Engineering, Karad, we could develop the flexibility almost 600 times of that of what is called a conventional concrete. It is basically what is called as reinforced with what is called as the fibers which are called as PVA fibers. Of course, as it was sponsored by L&T ECC, we could get the fibers from China at that time. But nowadays, I was told these fibers are readily manufactured by Reliance and this particular group, Also some other competitors are developing, and hence at that time it was slightly costly issue, but now it can be easily, it is comparatively cheaper and all. ECC is made up from the same basic ingredient, nothing is changed, with high range water reducing agents, and basically we don't use what is called as coarse aggregate, hence it is more a mortar than what is called as the concrete. It is just to prevent the problem of ceramic brittle and rigid, which is the basic behavior of conventional concrete. It is going to suffer the catastrophic failure when it is strained by an earthquake or by any routine type of the overuses, which is very common in the case of building as well as what is called as your infrastructures. And hence lot of restraints, lot of constraints are there. Then we can definitely get the added advantage when we blend the ECC, when we put the ECC in these type of structures where there are chances of the failure due to its rigidity. Then ECC remain intact and safe to use at the tensile strength up to 5%, which is in fact in the case of concrete, even we cannot go up to 0.02 or 0.01, even not up to that range. Here we can exceed, of course, we can see in the case of the pictures I shared with you. Concept of the ECC. The concept of the ECC is the cement mortar-based fiber reinforced concrete, where I said already the superior ductility, almost 600 times of the ductility of the normal concrete in tension. These composites are composed of cement, sand, and a small amount of admixture, an optimum amount of the fibers, polyvinyl alcohol fibers. And although ECC represent utilize the same ingredients of FRC, except without the coarse aggregate, and employ a much smaller amount of fibers than most high performance fiber reinforced concretes. In the case of high performance fiber reinforced concrete, the fibers may be between 2% to 5% or even more than that. Here we are using a very small amount. I will share the mixed design with you also. These are the simple ingredients, nothing, anything special except the PVA fibers. As I said, the first time this concept was developed by Professor Victor D. Lee of the Michigan University in US. Here, the employment of the PVA fibers is basically to increase the what is called as the ductility. Fly ash is a filler. Fly ash is a filler. And this is second thing, as it is a pozzolanic admixture, it gives the advantage of one improving the what is called as the workability, acting as a ball bearing. Second, the heat of the hydration reduced to the great extent. And third, as the heat of hydration is extended to a great extent, rather reduced to a great extent, what happens? The thermal cracking is not induced. As normally the crack is not developed, there are no chances of the propagation of the crack, and hence the brittleness of the concrete can be reduced to a great extent. This is the cement. In fact, we are normally using the conventional cement. Blast furnace slag can be also used because it has the inherent property of what is called as the pozzolanic admixture. Color of the cement made a dune oxide. In fact, we are used the conventional cement at that time because that particular Portland slag cement was not available. But now it is seen that using this Portland slag cement, the advantages you can derive better. Nothing special. We have used the typical fine silica sand, which is the most desirable. We can also go for the normal sand, but if the normal sand is not available with the proper fineness modulus, we can go for the blended sand. The fly ash, silica fume, blast furnace slag, anything which is a pozzolanic can be also blended. In our case, we have went for what is called as the fly ash. What is this super plasticizer? It has the major use in this particular thing. As I said, when the concept was of the plasticizers, maybe 15, 20 years back, when we were in the field, the concept of the plasticizer was to create the deep flocculation system. Flocculate is basically come together as the chemicals when were added, the deep flocculation of the material used to take place, and then the workability was automatically enhanced. But today we have one more term, one more class, rather enhancement of the class, which is called as super plasticizers, where these materials induce what is called as charges, positive or negative. And as everybody is aware that the alike charges, the particles cannot come together, the repelment takes place. And as the particles are separated due to this electronic phenomenon, we get the better workability. And that is why a small dose of super plasticizers are equally enough justifiable to get what is called as the workability enhancement. When used to achieve reduction in the mixing water, it can reduce up to 15 to 20% depending upon the mix design you carry out. Flash, the same thing. I again said the flash is nothing but what is called a high reactive silica. It is not the ash which is coming out directly from the chimneys of the thermal power plant. Let us remove that particular wrong notion. We have this flash which is collected from the stack of the chimney by a process which is called an electrostatic precipitation. This successful in the reducing the heat of hydration without loss of strength and increase the ultimate strength beyond 180 days and providing additions of the fine for the compaction. It has the multi-phase advantages. One, these particular pozzolanic admixtures generate or trigger what is called as secondary CSH gel formation of the material which is practically useless for us, and that is nothing but the calcium hydroxide. It is this material, if we don't take care while doing the hydration process, many times you'll find those who are working in the field, if you de-shutter the concrete, mainly for the slabs or beam column junctions, you'll always find the white patches. And these white patches are purely due to this free, say, lime, and this free lime, which is called as calcium, CaOH, calcium hydroxide. If this hydroxide, this is basically inert in nature, nothing to do. But what the problem that it creates is nothing but whenever it uses outside, whatever gaps which are left in the body of the concrete, they become the spaces, they become the houses for the foreign materials, and the exit point of the calcium hydroxide because they become an entry point for external agents, and then the process of the corrosion start, because from these points, there is the entry of different gases, which are greenhouse gases, calcium or rather carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, and so on, which is available ample in nature due to the pollution, due to basically what is called use of the gases which are coming out from the diesel and petrol engines. And due to this traffic, due to industrial behavior, these gases enter into the body of the concrete, and all this electrochemical process starts, which is called as the corrosion. And due to the corrosion, the life, performance, durability, all the things come into the danger. And then what happens is these points or these type of the things create a problem for the durability. You will find when we design the life period maybe of 100 years, 75 years or so, many times building which are made in the saline area, you will find a building will lose the strength. They will indicate the signals of cracking, deformation, deflection within the span of 20-25 years only, because the composite nature of the steel and the cement or steel and concrete, that bond is lost. There is internal pressure which is developed due to increasing the volume, and this cracking is nothing but a failure of structural integrity. And hence we should go for these type of the concretes. In proportioning mixes for minimum paste volume, one of principal function of a flash is to occupy the void spaces which would otherwise be occupied by the cement or water. Hence, the cement content is reduced, water-cement ratio is maintained, and we get the durability. At the same time, it also becomes what is called a green concrete, because we are using the material which is of otherwise waste and which is going to disturb the environmental stability. and hence this is also one of the typical type of the green concrete. Occupation of void space with the water would obviously result in the reduction in the concrete strength, which is eliminated in this particular case. These are the fibers. Of course, as you are aware, nowadays fiber reinforced concrete is not at all a new thing. We are deliberately using, we are deliberately putting, we are deliberately basically mixing the fibers, something that are fiber impregnated concrete rather. These fibers are used for many cases. One, abrasion resistance, mainly to resist what is called a resilient, increase the resilient property, shock absorption, increasing the tensile strength, basically reducing the permeability of the concrete, basically to reduce what is called a formation of the crack, propagation of the cracks. And hence, these are now inherent material, one of the commonly used material where the concrete is subjected to these type of the stresses, abrasive stresses, impact stresses, strain energy. Whenever these type of the things are there, normally we prefer the fibers. Of course, there are a number of fibers in the use. Some of the fibers that we are, it is very commonly adopted is the glass fibers. It may be what is called a polyester, nylons. It may be even what is called a carbon fibers, which are called as smart fibers. If you are now knowing the term as bulletproof jackets, they are nothing but applications of fibers only. And these fibers can resist the shock and transfer the energy or the momentum which is going to hit the body of the concrete more effectively. And hence, these have a lot of applications in the concrete technology. The modular elasticity, durability, tensile strength, bonding strength with the concrete mixes are some of the very desirable property. PVF fiber with high strength and modulus of elasticity, you can now compare almost 5 to 8 times. Fiber elongation is about to 6 to 8%, and hence these fibers, the strength of the fiber ranges between 880 MP to almost equal to 1600 MP, very, very high. They are flexible in nature. They can be placed in any direction, and they work normally. They stand perpendicular to the propagation of the crack, direction of the crack, and hence commonly they are called as crack arresting fibers. Water, nothing to share. Regular conventional water with the pH between 6 to 7 is normally recommended because the concrete itself is alkaline material. Concrete itself is alkaline material, so water should have the very pH very between 6 to 7, 7.5. That is most desirable. Only thing, it should be free from the other organic impurities, because along with the water they enter into the body of the concrete. As if the material is organic, the biodegradation may take place and create another type of the things or leave the voids and so on. Hence, the water should be potable water. That is enough. The salty water is risky because when we add the salty water to the concrete, there is a problem of leaching. There is a problem of corrosion. There is a problem of what you call accelerated the formation of the cracks, and hence it should be simple potable water which has to just serve the lubricant. It has to increase the workability in optimum fashion, and it has to cover the matrix of the aggregate to get the strength. This is the simple reason. You can now show the picture of the UTM at the Government College in Karad. A flat, a simple slab is produced out of the concrete with a nominal reinforcement. The loaders are placed on the concrete and we are increasing now the load. At this particular level, in conventional cases, you would have found out that the concrete would have cracked long back, because this is not the amount of the deformation or the ductility of the concrete. At this level, it will make a sound and it will really lead into the pieces. But now, see the thing that even at this particular level also, now you will find some sort of the cracks have started generating. See, assume now it is a straight type of the flat, which is the normal position. See now how much deformation it has undergone without generation of any crack. And even this crack is there, I can still load it more, and then and only then the crack will propagate, not to the sudden brittle failure, but it will lead to what is called as the elastic type of the thing. And hence, we must now take the advantage of this point, this type of the ductility, mainly for the monorail projects, mainly in the case of their transition points, all they need this type of the material which will not undergo the brittle type of the failures. These are the actual things that we use at the Karad. This is the actual thing what we use at the Karad. The 53 tanks grade Ultratech cement which was provided free. We have used the natural sand conforming to zone 1 passing to the 4.75 mm highest sieve. The fineness was 2.8. Super plastic was the supercon. Fibers were polyvinyl alcohol fibers supplied from China. The conventional drinking water fly ash was class F fly ash, which we brought from the nearby Ekalera station, power station from Nasik, because that was the nearest, say, supply of the fly ash. We had, these are the properties that we had tested about the fly ash. These are the tested what we are the fly ash. The PVA fibers which constitute 1%, 2%, 30 micron in diameter. 30 micron means 1/2 of my hair diameter. We chop that pieces into 6 mm bar length, because if we place them in the bundle, if we place in the unnecessary longer length, it is going to act as a nucleus. It will be basically bundle located at only one point. There should be proper dispersion of what is called as fly ash, or rather the bars or the PVA fibers, and dispersion should be uniform in the body of the concrete. To know that, this is basically called an aspect ratio of the fibers. We maintain that aspect ratio by considering the diameter to be for 30 microns. We kept the 6 mm long pieces we chopped, and then we maintained thoroughly mixed uniformly in the body of the concrete. The Young's modulus of that particular fiber, when we are tested, it was 20.58 GPa. Water insoluble synthetic polymer were used, and some adhesive property as they have. Basically, we could produce the better type of the results. This is, we have tested so many fibers. We have tested so many fibers before accepting the PVA fibers as the best suited fibers for the FRC. We have tested PVA, the polypropylene, nylon, polyethylene, high performance polyethylene, expensive steel fiber bars also, artificial glass type of the fibers. Every fiber was tested in the laboratories for the various things, tensile strengths, Young's modulus, elongation, then the density, and so many things. And then we could found that the PVA fibers are giving us the better type of the results as compared to another one, because we could not take the chance in this particular mix design, because ultimately it was used for the monorail where the structure is subjected to heavy static, dynamic, and basically rolling loads. And after doing this, we could find out the PVA fibers like this. We, after chopping, they in fact before that we got it like this. We chopped in this PVA fibers. If we cannot just dump it like that. In fact, they must be dumped in a very typical fashion, so that under the electronic scanning microscope, this was the structure of the fibers and placing the thing. You'll find there is no gap left out. The fibers are really placed in the very different way. They were dispersed very perfectly, uniformly, and then we could now start for the mixed proportion. The mixing, it was something cement, then what is called as your fly ash, and then basically what is called as your fine aggregate. We started with so many things. Ultimately, 1.2% by the volume was quite qualified. The superplasticide used was 10,040.47 ml per bag, and the water cement ratio was kept very low, 0.274. As I said, it was purely, I could maintain it, or we could maintain it purely due to two things. One, the proper, as there is no what is called a coarse aggregate, workability is not a great issue. Second, the fibers are there which are going to help me to increase the workability. And third is nothing but the volume of the flash, as the particles are very tiny, like more than cementitious particle. Every particle acts as the ball bearing, and then we could easily get the workability. This is how we started. This is how we have started. We have considered so many trials. We have considered the so many trials. This is something like a trial mix. We could get, this is the combination of the various materials. We could get the like this. And these are the trials what we thought of. By changing the mix proportion, by changing the percentage of the fibers, by changing what we call a super plasticizer, and also accordingly changing the water cement ratio. Almost 100 trials were carried out by all making all this particular combination. And also we have casted the cubes, we have casted the beams, we have casted the slab, we have casted the cylinders to conduct all possible tests which are required to verify, to do the auditing of the performance of the PVA. And then the test was carried out for 7 days, 21 days, basically 56 days to begin with, just to check whether the strength gaining mechanism is going as per our expectation, whether it is following the path precisely, or there is some abrupt changes in the strengths or basically the properties of the concrete. Just to begin with the final thing, we are tested in the presence of the L&T people, and these tests were carried out. Compressive strength, very much essential to decide the quality of the concrete, because this characteristic compressive strength is very much essential to understand whether the concrete can take the loads or the stresses. Split tensile strength, as everybody knows, we cannot carry out the direct tensile strength on the concrete specimen. It is to be in the form of split form, where the cylinder is placed under the UTM along the length, and we have measured the stresses required to break or rupture, and then using the empirical formula, we could understand the tensile strength of the concrete. Flexural test, in fact, I have shown you. Basically, a beam of the slab is rather the flat of slab, flat portion of the concrete is taken, again put under the UTM. We check how much flexibility it can receive, and one is the ductility before really going for the cracking, what type of the deformation it can sustain. That is also carried out. These are the compressive strength results for the various proportions. Compressive strength results for the various proportions that we have carried out. And we have changed where you will find the water cementation ratio, super plastic dosages, fiber reinforcement. And after doing all this combination, we could actually test the fiber, and this was the compression strength with the age. We'll find it is perfectly linear after some time, because due to the presence of what is called as your pozzolanic admixture, the secondary CSA gel started after around 16 to 17 days. And what could have been in the normal conventional case, that the graph could have been become straight somewhere over here, because in the conventional concrete, the strength gaining mechanism normally becomes almost a flat after 28 to 30 days. But what happened here is the strength increasing mechanism continued, and this will still continue up to 180 days or so. And hence, as the age passes, the compressive strength goes on increasing. This is the beauty of what is called as pozzolanic concretes. Then we went for the split tensile strength. We went for the split tensile strength, as the concrete is good in compression but weak in tension. But at the same time, when we are put to the structures under the loading and in the use over and above the compression load or compressive forces, compressive stresses, it is also subjected to tensile stresses. Of course, we take due care of the proper reinforcement, maybe what is the using nothing but a proper stirrups and all, which are meant to take the tensile stresses or the shearing stresses. But why not to increase, why not to enhance the tensile strength of the concrete with the help of the fibers? Keeping that thought in mind, we also carried out the split tensile strength, as I said, with the help of the cylinder putting under the UTM. This is a picture from our lab only, where when it was put to the final load, this type of rupture or this type of the split has been observed. And this reading, when empirically we are calculated, we say we got the improved type of the version, improved type of the product, which is having almost say 10 times its own strength, tensile strength. This is another beauty. See, you can find out the average is 2.63, which is much higher as compared to average tensile strength. Then Young's modulus, because when we observed the graph of the compress or say the strength versus the strain, we were more curious what will be the Young's modulus, stress upon strain ratio. Of course, in the case of what is called elastic range. And for that, we took a cylinder. We also attached the dial gauges to understand what is the strain developed. Stress was easily calculated when we know the load along with the cross-section area. The stress was known, strain was known, and we could find out. People claim different things. Try to find out what we really get in our laboratories. We also carried out the load deformation curve for the standard cylinder. And this was the picture, and this was the result. See, the theoretically, it should have been the straight one. Theoretically, it should have been a straight one. But practically, we could get something which is shown in your orange color. Almost a matching. Almost a matching. In our conventional concrete, it would have been broken at this particular level only. This particular level only, and as compared to this level, see how it has reached the higher levels, and hence what is that particular modulus of elasticity can very well establish, ascertain by this particular test by constructing or conducting of the thing. We also conducted the flexural test. Because tensile strength is good, the compressive strength is naturally very high. But at the same time, what is its behavior under the bending, under the flexure? That was also one of the things which should have been slightly verified, and hence we prepared the specimen of 50 centimeter long, 100 centimeter wide, and 100 centimeter depth. And this specimen are placed in the UTM. The load was applied to the two similar rollers mounted at the 1/3 point of the supporting span, that is placed at the almost 133 mm center to center physically, and the test was carried out to get some really wonderful results as far as the average flexural strength is concerned. And that is why not only this, as the age goes up, the average flexible strength also goes up. That is one of the point. And of course, we could not wait for the long time, but I'm very sure at the end of 58 days, this could have been around 16 or 16.5, what is called as MPa. That was the expectation. This is how that flexural test. If you see here also at this particular point, you will find the wider crack is established at the bottom. It is going to be reduced at the top because it is subjected to typical flexural failure. But at this particular point also, there is no brittle failure of the concrete. It is something like working as a steel member. It is undergoing the plastic stresses, plastic strength. And this is a wonderful achievement. This is the wonderful plus point of this particular concrete at this stage of the cracking also, at the stage of the fissure also. This is very wide. At the 1/3 or 1/4 of it, that particular flat should have collapsed. But here it is not showing the failure. It may go on taking some more, the stresses, but we deliberately stopped at this particular point. This is the major advantage or the major plus point of what is called as this type of the engineering cement composite. This is how you can see. After this particular thing, the flexural strength slightly declined. It just went up and then collapsed. But you can find out how much enhancement in the flexural strength has taken place. And not only flexure, you can see simultaneously the brittleness of that particular structure, how concrete has been reduced to very high extent. It is giving you enough signal before it collapses, which is not the common story with the concrete structure. This is the bending stresses we have calculated. The ductility also we try to calculate. See how it is now undergoing this particular value. The structure, or still the integrity of this particular member is very much valid, which is one of the important achievements of this particular project. See the test results. 7 days, 28 days, the average deflection in mm at 12.16, 14.36 and all, which is really a miserable one. Now, let us come to the cost of parameters. At that time, let me share you, the fibers were almost 36 to 37,000 rupees per kg, including the transportation cost from China and all other government formalities. It reached to us around 40,000 rupees per kg. Of course, we could manage it because it was again supported financially by Larsen and Toubro Group. So I'm telling you the story almost 8-9 years back. Today, the same fibers are available almost equal to 6 to 7,000 rupees in market. India-based better fibers. And hence, whatever actual cost I have shown you, it will be hardly 1.5 times or 1.25 times more than that. If you go for more voluminous concrete, the cost will definitely come down. So no doubt it was the disadvantage at that time. But now, if you look at the performance cost, maintenance cost, then thickness cost or the volume cost, I think it is more cheaper if you consider both tangible and intangible, direct and indirect cost, maintenance cost of the structure, or the length of the service of the structure. It is a much cheaper than the conventional concrete. The density of the concrete, the basically lightweight, and hence whenever it is put to structural use, whenever it is put to, I say, the earthquake seismic forces, this is going to have the better thing. It is eco-friendly, definitely corrosion resistant because no crack is permitted, highly ductile, compressive strength is almost the same, flexural strength is much high, split tensile strength, as I said, almost 50% high, ductility is appreciable, deflection in were 2 at the time of the what is called as the typical conventional concrete, or what is called as the sample concrete conventional, and in the case of eco friendly or rather the ECC bendable, the value was 17. You can find out how much time it is more, and deflection is also 4.3 times that is of the what you call a controlled concrete mix. Now you can now compare, even it is 25% more, looking at these major advantages which the conventional concrete cannot give us, it is much cheaper, both from the performance, both from the including the durability, and if you consider now the what is called that buzzword sustainability, this is the best sustainable green concrete that I would like to present before you. These are the property: ductility, durability, self-consolidation. I don't know, some of the faculty must have covered, must have thought of, or must have thrown light on what is called as self-compacting concrete, which is now commonly adopted when you are doing what is called a pumping of the concrete. Whenever the structures are thin, whenever the structures are very tall, like chimneys, like the cooling towers, like the piers of the column, or silos and all, the vibration by using the conventional vibrator in needle, and they are now obsolete. It is not possible. Whenever you are doing the chimney of 250 to 75 meters, you cannot expect at the 100, 150 meters, 100 and 150 meters, you will get a chance to do that particular vibration by the needle, and hence we now go for the concrete which will have the self-compacting, self-consolidating under the gravity loads. Low density, very eco-friendly, corrosion-free. These are the major advantages which are now required to enhance the durability, performance, and considering the sustainability aspect of the concrete. These are the advantages. Flexible concrete, bend like a metal, more stronger, more durable, last longer than the conventional. It has a self-healing property that it can heal itself by using the carbon dioxide and rainwaters. It is basically brittle like a glass, more resistant to the cracking. It does not emit that amount of the harmful gases. Flexible concrete approximately 22% lighter. The use of steel reinforcement is reduced and can be eliminated because it has better shear strength also. It reduces the cost of the project, and mainly when you are going for the precast type of the structures, mainly in the case of metros, in the case of the infrastructures, where the launching is required, maybe launching of the girder, maybe incremental launching, side launching and all, as it is lightweight, the launching cost, hoisting cost can be controlled. The only disadvantage is at that time it was very high. Now the cost is comparable. It requires the skill level for the construction, needs some special type of material which is difficult to find in some areas where to really get that particular material from the specialized organization. Quality depends upon the materials used and the condition under which it is made. So basically you have to go for the proper selection of the raw materials, and we have to see that it is consistently available when you are going for the high volume, and any comparison can be lesser in some of the cases if the proper not generated, if the proper trials are not generated. But in our cases, we got almost the same, in fact, slightly better. These are the noticeable disadvantages that we get from the what is called as your literature. Now let us come to the application, which is most important for the all the civil engineers. One, protective layer for enhancing the corrosion durability of the RC structures. If the structure is damaged, if it is more prone for the what is called as corrosion, if a thin layer we apply on the conventional member which is subjected to this corrosion, definitely we can enhance the life of the structure, because as it is practically watertight, all the seals, all the gaps, all the basically exposed part of the damaged or diseased member can be definitely controlled by the application of bendable concrete. Mainly for the bridges. When you move from one girder, one span to adjacent span of the bridge, you'll always have the katak, the typical sound when you are moving from one girder or one span to another. Why this typical katak, or your vehicle also has some type of the jerk? Jerk is purely due to failure of a joint, which is technically called as expansion joint. Even at the start of the bridge, even at the start of the bridge, you will always find a typical jump field that you are in now entering the bridge, say girder. This is nothing but what is called as the approach portion, approach slab. This many times fail due to failure of expansion joint. And what happens through this expansion joint, if we don't take proper care, due to the presence of the water or maybe to storm, due to the rain, water it goes inside the body of that particular concrete or body of that particular girder or between the two spans. What happens? The bearings which are placed above that particular bridges, above that particular pedestals, are damaged, corrosion of the reinforcement start, and then these particular parts of the span get damaged, deteriorated, and corroded, and the life of the bridge comes in the danger. Instead of that, why not to put this particular member, this type of the concrete, that particular junction, and because anyway we need what is the purpose of expansion. Let us put the gaps, let us put the separation line, not exactly about this particular, say, end of the span, end of that particular, or on the pier. Let's just divide at 2 points. Naturally, the traffic, the flying quality on these particular bridges you'll feel any sort of the disturbance, any sort of the noise. This is another point, and at the same time, the life of that particular bridge girder will be enhanced like anything. It is used for the retrofitting of the RC building. I hope you are aware of the three terms, what is called as the repairing, rehabilitation, and retrofitting. In the case of retrofitting, we are trying to enhance the strength of the existing component, existing member, so as to carry some additional loading. Under such thing, whenever we have an opportunity to do the retrofitting and retrofitting of the RCM members, these materials can really provide you help due to the properties that I listed in the previous slides. High energy absorption structure devices, including the short column, where you need the damping, where there are chances that some sort of the impact will be levied when due to some forging, machine foundations, all. This is the better type of the concrete. Precast shear panels for the building wall retrofitting, subjected to what is called as the structural retrofitting to make the building more earthquake prone, or rather more earthquake resistant. This is one of the major advantage of this material. Structures subjected to large deformations, such as underground structures, which structures subjected to impact or 3D loading. Technically, nowadays there is a demand. There is a demand for the structures which are called as blaster resistant structures, mainly for military applications, military for the storages, military for some underground godowns and all, where these types of material, as they have the better resilient property, shock absorption property, in the continuation along with the conventional structural component, we can very well use this type of the material, and hence this is the future concrete for which will be used by many people in the next couple of years. Only thing, only thing, there should be leak provision and confirm the soil deformation or the soil properties, because if the soil behaves abruptly different, then this concrete may not be that workable. This is a simple picture. What happens, many times we provide the expansion joint here, and when you are changing from one span to another, as the expansion joint fails, there is a typical sound, typical jerk, which is rather observed by you, basically experienced by you. A typical cut, the sound indicating there is sudden jump. But here, and what happens as this particular expansion joint collapse, the water, due to rains or any other thing, will enter here, and it is going to disturb this particular part of the girder, the bearings which are placed, again again that what is called a pier cap. So everything is likely to damage due to failure of what is called an expansion joint. So remove that expansion joint, remove that particular expansion joint, and replace by a ECC link slab on the girder. As the ECC slab is having lot of thermal expansion shrinkage properties, it will not to lead to the failure of the expansion joint, and the structure, the quality of the structure, life of the structure will be enhanced to the better extent, because the distance in this particular thing are likely to decrease or increase due to thermal temperature increase, it will lead to the learning. If the temperature reduces, it will go to the shortening, and due to this moment that is caused, many times this expansion joint fails, and it looks like this. See, this is the typical failure of the expansion joint on the girder. This is that particular pier. You'll find this particular RC member has really lost the strength due to the corrosion. The cover itself is removed, and these vertical things which are called as stirrups are exposed. What is going to happen to the structure after next 10, 15 years? Even God also, nobody knows, even the God. And hence, why not to replace this panel with a simple panel, hardly 1.2 to 1.5 meters. It is precast, just place it over there. You'll find a wonderful thing without any chance of leakages, without any chance of the corrosion. This is the major application of what is called as the bendable concretes. One more issue is the earthquake resistance structures. The earthquake resistance is basically improved by providing what is called as a flexibility or enhancing the ductility of the members. In the conventional concrete, when the earthquake force were not there, when the provisions were not there, the building which are constructed 15, 20 years back, when it was not mandatory to follow the earthquake code provisions, these structures really can be repaired or what is called as your retrofitted using the combination of the rigid members which the building has and the flexible members in the form of ECC. The major thing, I say, the advantages, because it can can absorb the vibrations which are otherwise created by the base shear or the body load multiplied by the accelerations and all. Second, the concrete canvas. A simple flexible canvas of the concrete can be easily made for various different uses, right from the structural use, right for the military for practical use, maybe for construction of the various type of the flexible thing, mainly even the case of what is called as the typical tents and all. This can be very well used, which is called as concrete canvas. And this concrete canvas, which is very flexible in nature, can be made it can be made more stronger and durable by using this type of what is called as the ECC members. For roads and bridges, I already explained, when there are chances of failure under the expansion joint, the expansion joint can be replaced by a small panel of this ECC material, and hence the life of the bridge can be also enhanced. This is earthquake resistant structure. This is earthquake resisting structure in Mumbai. You will find this type of the structure was now the made resistant, made basically retrofitted by providing some external fence, the shear wall, and the coupling type of the links which are made flexible, something like the bony structure of the human being and the flexible muscles, little then ligaments and what is called a tendons. The similar type of the thing, stiffness is provided by the rigid members and shear wall, and whatever deformation which is required to absorb the shock due to earthquake is supplemented by ECC coupling. And this type of the combinations will definitely work for a longer time. The conventional structure, the life can be enhanced, retrofitted better way. The life of the infrastructures like what is called a bridges can be enhanced at the time of expansion joint. It can be suitably used when there is a sudden bends, and all these properties are required in the case of what is called as intelligent traffic management. It can be very well used for the blast resisting structures, mainly for the military and other applications. And hence in the last 10, 15 years, huge research work has been done in the case of ECC, as this is concrete of the future. This is the prototype I'm going to present. This is what is, I told you, the concept of the canvas. This is the concept of the canvas. Very thin members, but I can go for beautiful architecture structures. It can be used for the tents, it can be used for military application, a typical type of the shell with the typical beautiful designs as expected by the architects. This flexibility of this type of the thing can be used by the ECC in the form of canvas also. So see now, the behavior of the concrete is totally changed. I cannot expect the typical conventional concrete with these type of very small thicknesses will give you the wonderful usable shapes. Simple type of the tents, simple type of the houses. So many things are possible using the ECC. The work is going on, but mainly, my respected dear friends, this is one of the concrete of the tomorrow. In the previous discussion, we had the long discussion about what is called a self-healing concrete or bacteria impregnated concrete. That was one of the core areas where people are working and need to work, because this is also one of the advantages concrete for the durability and sustainability. Similarly, this is also one of the concrete which is going to help you also by making the green concrete, rather using the green concrete concept where we are using high volume of flash. So these are the new things that I would like to share. something about the bendable concretes. I request all the participants who are basically from academics or industries, this doesn't require more, say, expenditure now. Many of the fibers are available in the different name, and now Reliance is also manufacturing these type of the fibers. Why not to attempt to save the cost of the structure, to enhance the durability of the structure, and ultimately leading to what is called as sustainability without disturbing the futures of the next generations to follow. This is something from my side. Thank you very much for giving an opportunity. I am very sure this course run really went successful. Many speakers who are very eminent personalities for their own domain have contributed a lot in the providing the better, I say, knowledge in the various dimensions of the concrete technology. Thank you, organizers, for giving me opportunity, and wish you very best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Participants can ask the question.
Thank you very much.
Any question is there? Otherwise, you can mail me the questions. I will give the answer. No problem.
Okay, so I think there are no questions.
Okay, no problem, sir.
Yes, sir.
If the participant have any question or if they come across any difficulty, kindly I request organizers to share my email. I don't have any problem. Let them fire the question. I will definitely answer.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much for giving opportunity. Thank you very much and wish you very best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative session and sharing your valuable knowledge with us. I'm sure all the participants will surely be benefited from this session. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Feedback link has been shared in the chat box.